13 goats of golf. Why 13 goats? Shouldn't there be only one greatest of all time? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Um, let's take a look at Harry Varden here, upper left-hand corner. Um, Formal stance, upright. You know, certainly his grip, his placement of his hand on that club is somewhat different than ours. And I'm sure that club is made of very different material than our 21st century clubs. And then you look down here at Tiger, you can see, the change in um, the shoulder placement. You can, of course, see that Tiger has got a V, is rolling his hands over, pushing the sod up in the air. Um, even the clothing is different. Um, so there are different areas to golf. Why can't both of these be goats? They certainly were in their time period. And so we're measuring essentially the greatness of golfer by using the majors. And the reason we're doing that is because um, the stress, the pressure of the majors is just extraordinary. Um, and people come apart. You can, for those of you who remember, 1986, Nicholas was made quite a run on the back nine. He's going to win the tournament. And so he's on 16, and Seve Ballesteros is right behind on 15. And certainly Seve was in a position to catch Nicholas and win the tournament. And Nicholas hits his shot on 16, about 3 or 4 feet from the cup. He's going to sink that for a birdie. And on 15, Seve hits a really good drive, and he's looking at the second shot and knowing he has to catch Nicholas, and he hits a pull hook into the water. Um, I don't think the pros hit many pull hooks, but there you have it. And of course, what happened was the pressure just simply caught up with Seve, and so it's just and Seve's a wonderful golfer. Oh, so it's the pressure which really separates the everyday super good pro golfer from these 13 golfers who just happen to have won 25% of all majors ever. Um, and you know, when you take a look at this on the left-hand side, there, of course, is number 12 at Augusta, Golden Bell. And the any given Masters Sunday, you can sit there and watch golfers hit shots onto that green and watch it roll in the water, or hit it in that back bunker and then knock your ball in the water. Um, so, a hole like this, which would not under normal circumstances, this is a very short hole. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't even slow the pros down. Sunday at the Masters, it not only slows them down, it stops some of them altogether. And for those of you who have played in Britain or Scotland, you have some sense of what the courses are like there. One of the things that particularly American golfers find themselves saying is, I've never seen a shot like this before. But that just points to the fact that on every British golf course or every Scottish golf course, you just have shots that you're not going to see in more modern, less original golf courses. And so the British Open can produce a fantastic number of surprises. Jack Nicklaus, of course, obviously, the has 18 majors. Regardless of his dress, he did everything in the game well. But the story I like about Jack the most is, in essence, where he loses 1977 Duel in the Sun with Tom Watson over at Turnberry. Um, Nicklaus needs to birdie the last hole and have have Watson par, and Watson hits a beautiful approach shot in, um, and drops about 2.5 feet from the hole. And Nicklaus has got not a very good position at all, muscles the ball onto the green, but about 35 yards short, or 35 feet short, excuse me. So Watson's caddy says something like, "Oh, okay, we've got it." And Watson says, "No, Jack's going to sink this." And Jack did. Under the tremendous pressure of the Open, Watson and Nicklaus played one of the great rounds of all time. Um, Nicklaus could, under that pressure, line up and sink a 35-foot putt. And that's fantastic, and indicates, of course, why he's with us. Tiger. Well, Tiger, we think of him as a long hitter, and we remember him in his prime as a great putter, maybe one of the 3 or 4 great putters of all time. But I think the key to Tiger's play is the fact that he can hit any shot that anybody ever hit, and he can hit shots that nobody else has ever hit. Mickelson is known for his creativity, but really Woods, in his own way. Mickelson hit a number of outrageous shots, but Woods could hit any shot he was asked to hit, and I think that's really the secret of his success over the years. Walter Hagen. We've forgotten Walter Hagen, but he's won 11. He won 11 majors. There wasn't a Masters when he was playing in the 1920s, and I'm pretty certain Hagen. I'm pretty certain that he would have, had there been a Masters, been right up with Nicklaus and Woods. The thing about Hagen was his golf was flamboyant. It kind of reminds you of an early version of Palmer's. Long hitter, strong hitter, very adrenaline filled kind of guy. I know he doesn't look like it here, but it's true. And he played golf with a fury and a savagery and a joy. And of course, that helped make him a GOAT. And of course, he could stand up to the pressure. Ben Hogan, is there a more iconic photo in golfdom than his 1-iron at Merion? Certainly. Hogan was the epitome of the driven golfer. He one time complained about the sun, and somebody said, "What about the sun?" And he says, "Well, there's not enough light out there to practice long enough." And Hogan, of course, would practice from dusk to dawn. Never used gloves, by the way. Of course, there's this other side of Ben, which testifies to why he testifies to an inner toughness. As many of you know, of course, his legs were crushed in an auto accident. He had thrown his body in front of his wife's body when he realized that he was about to be hit head on. They do put him back together, but then they have to tie off most of the blood vessels that go to the legs because the injuries kept giving him blood clots, and they were afraid he would die. So as a result, of course, not only did the wee Iceman, as the Scots called him, win majors, but he won majors under very difficult, almost impossible handicaps. So Gary Player, our health expert, our fitness expert. Player was in some ways a complete player. There wasn't anything he couldn't do. I don't know that Player had any weaknesses in the game. He wasn't a big man. He obviously was in great shape all his entire life, and he's still with us as I cut this video. But Player was not a big man, and if he had been, then he might have been up with Nicklaus and Woods. But certainly he could hit every shot perfectly. And you notice that one swing up there, just how far around he's come on that swing. Um, he could hit anything, and the thing is he could, he could handle the pressure. He won in all four majors, and that's very rare. I think there's only been 5 golfers ever to do that. Having said that, um, he is even more mentally tough than you would expect because, being from South Africa during the days of apartheid, um, Player often had, or somewhat often had, death threats. And if you think about playing in the in a major with the question of whether or not somebody's going to shoot you from a nearby building, well, you can just imagine the kind of pressure that would build. And yet he did it. He consistently won majors and was one of the big 3 in the 1960s: Palmer, Nicklaus, and Player. Watson, has anybody ever sunk more pressure putts than Tom Watson has? He's a remarkable, cool character. It's one thing to cozy a putt up to the hole. It's something else to walk up to a 16-foot hole and just slap it in. That takes a special kind of confidence, a special kind of guts, and Watson had it. And he took at least 3 majors away from Jack, and and that's something. And he, up until the very end, up until he was 60 years of age, he was still capable of getting in there and holding the needle straight and scoring. Almost wins the British Open, just a little bit short of his 60th birthday. So Harry Vardon, of course, probably forgotten now. There's the Vardon grip, of course, is well known, but also there's the Vardon Trophy, which we give out every year. Nobody pays any attention to. But Vardon is one of the most important founders of the game of golf. He You can read his instruction book today and find things in there for use. He's going to win 6 Opens, 6 British Opens, and a U.S. Open. He's going to do it in a period of time when there's no PGA and there's no Masters, and you can only speculate how high his numbers would have been had he had more major tournaments to play in. Gene Sarazen, the Squire. Okay. Sarazen, certainly one of the more better dressed players, kind of his trademark, being well dressed with the +4s. Sarazen was not a tall man. He was about 5'5" tall. And yet he hit the ball a very long way. He was very accurate. On his signature shot was a double eagle in the Masters, in which, and remember, this is back in the days with not such good clubs and really awful balls. He hit on a par 5, the par 5 15th at Augusta. He hit a long drive, and then he hit a long enough second shot to put the ball in the hole. And again, just think of how different the clubs and the balls were in those days. Golf course wasn't different, but the clubs were different. And Sarazen, of course, one of the great figures and one who could hold it together. In fact, had a fair amount of joy in doing so. Bobby Jones. What do we say about Bobby Jones? Bobby Jones, an amateur, played golf only a little bit out of the year, had a day job, and it lands on our list of people who won majors. Certainly, in many ways, a perfect golfer. There's some strobe photographs of Jones swinging a golf club, and if you want to see perfection, these strobe lights, these strobe photos are on the internet. If you want to see perfection, just go take a look at those strobe photographs of Jones. Sam Snead, the hillbilly. Snead, of course, one of the great athletes ever to play golf. There are still clubhouses around here that have preserved holes in their ceiling. Into his late 60s, Snead would bet people that he could kick the ceiling. And of course, they'd, can't do that. And then he'd wind up and he'd kick the ceiling. So, Snead had almost a perfect swing. Notice I put the word almost in there so the purists don't get upset with me. But I think the testimony for Snead, besides the fact that he wins 7 majors, I think the testimony for Snead is that, Tom Watson one time said he was looking at a particularly tight lie, and he said to his caddy, I can't hit that shot. Only a Snead could hit that shot. And I think that testifies to the pureness of Snead's swing. Arnold Palmer, the king, certainly. I think if 99.9% of golfers tried to swing like Palmer's did, they'd wind up in the hospital with their backs permanently dislocated. But I don't know. Palmer played. He loved the game, and he played with a fantastic level of passion. And I think that's probably how he won. Lee Trevino, the Merrimacs. Not many big names at all in anything come out of West Texas, and very few of them ran driving ranges in West Texas. And Trevino does, of course. Very poor, and of course, is one of the few people who really makes it from poverty up to stardom in the modern world. Now, in the old days, that's not necessarily true, because Snead and Hogan and Varden certainly started out very poor. Hagen started out fairly poor. So, but it's unusual to find in today's world somebody who's really been poor and has made it to the PGA. Trevino was one of them. The thing about Trevino, he's going to win the U.S. Open. He's going to win the British Open. He's going to win the PGA. But he's not going to win the Masters. And the thing is that where Nicklaus and Woods and Hogan all hit low fades, Trevino hit high fades. Now he put a hula hoop down, and Trevino could probably drop his drives right into that hula hoop, fairly frequently with that high fade. But the trouble is that the Augusta is not a fader's course, and Trevino would not go into it thinking that way. But Trevino, under strain, was often under stress, was often at his best. He's the one who said that in the middle of a lightning storm, hold up a 1-iron. Only God can hit a 1-iron. So he was composed, and in his play, although he was known to be humorous, he was grim. And played grimly. And Nick Faldo, some people call him the machine. Faldo is a perfect composition of brains, discipline, and intensity. And obviously, with 6 majors under his belt, I don't think we can say that he folds very easily. Gary Player one time said that you can't really consider someone to be I believe he used the word superstar in golf, until they've won 6 majors. And that's what our people have done here on this course. 6 majors is a cutoff line for a GOAT. And those 13 GOATs have won 25% of all the tournaments. So everybody, 25% of all the majors. So everybody out there, stay healthy, stay safe, and this is being cut right before the Masters. Let's have a good Masters. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.